All right, we are live and recording. So, hope you guys are having a great week so far. So, a little bit of a different setup if you're watching live. If you're watching the video here, got this nice futon from my brother-in-law. Actually, he was going to get rid of it, so I set this up in my office, which kind of creates this nice little podcast studio, which is kind of cool. So, hopefully, you guys like the setup. Hopefully, you guys are having a great week so far. In this one, we're going to talk about 5 things that people who lose fat and keep it off for good consistently do/don't do. So was trying to think about a good topic today, and there were a lot of things that were coming into my mind, from Labor Day weekend and all the conversations I've been having with one-on-one clients and members in the collective. And I thought this would be a really good one. And this list, honestly, I could make so long. I could make this list, 10 different things, 15, 20 different things. But these were 5 things that were really kind of speaking to me this week based on a lot of conversations I've been having. So let's go ahead and just dive in. So number one thing that people who lose fat do and that are able to keep it off long term, or that they don't do, is they don't drink an excessive amount of calories. So when I was growing up as a kid, if you know my story, if you've listened to my podcast episodes, some of the older ones, or if you've listened to some of these older Facebook Lives in here, if you've known me for a while, you probably know that I did not really grow up with the best eating habits or the best diet. I grew up kind of mimicking habits that, unfortunately my parents had at the time, and just ended up being kind of overweight, chubby as a kid. Not good eating habits. And one bad habit that I had that I don't have anymore is drinking a lot of calories, specifically through things like soda or pop, whatever name you like to use. I know that's a big thing depending on where you're located. You use different terminology, but drinking soda and pop, like the sugar sweetened beverages, is one thing that people who lose fat and keep it off just don't do anymore, because it's so hard to overcome that. If you are consistently drinking, let's say, even a can of Coke per day, it is very hard to consistently lose fat and keep it off, because that can of Coke, if it's like a normal, 12-ounce can of Coke, it's probably going to have roughly between 150 to 200 calories. And they're just really what we call, and I hate using this term because calories all serve a purpose, but if there's any calories that can be termed or deemed quote unquote empty calories, is calories coming from sugar sweetened beverages, things like Coke, or especially alcohol. But in this case, I'm not even diving into alcohol in this one, but just in terms of thinking sugar sweetened beverages like pop, soda, those calories are really just empty calories. You really don't get any vitamins and minerals through those. Those calories don't really fill you up as much. All they're doing is just racking up your calorie intake, giving you, that sweet sensation that you're probably craving if you are drinking one of those. But that's really all they're doing for you. And what they're doing is makes it really easy for your calorie intake to just consistently increase if you're having, these consistently throughout the week. Back when I was younger, going back to that story I was talking about, sadly, there are pictures of back when I had my own camera and I would take pictures in my room back in middle school. There's pictures where I have a stack of cans of Coke from the past couple weeks that I didn't throw away, just in my room. And I'm like, man, how did I drink that much Coke? And this was regular Coke. This isn't the Diet Coke or Coke Zero. This is regular Coke. And those calories just really add up. And there are a lot of people out there. You might be out there and you might be drinking one of these a day, 2 of these a day, maybe even 3 or 4. And that's an easy way. 4 of these cans of Coke is going to be probably 600 extra calories roughly, without, like I said, without even really making you feel full. And a lot of times when you drink these, maybe you'll drink them with meals, but a lot of times people drink them outside of meals. So they're not even getting any protein with it when they're drinking it. They're not even getting any fiber. So they're drinking just all the sugar, and it obviously tastes really good, but it doesn't fill you up. So it racks up these calories, but it doesn't actually leave you full and satisfied for a long period of time. So you're going to want to eat, later on after, pretty soon. And it's just not a really good use of calories. It's almost like if you have, a specific budget financially of how much you can spend per month, and you're spending, I don't know, $500 on some weird subscription that you don't even use, or you're spending $500 on something that's just really not serving you, and it's making it harder for you to like stay within your budget and pay off your bills, it's probably best to just get rid of that $500 subscription that you're not even really using, and it's just putting you in the hole more. And same thing goes with the like regular soda. And the thing with this too is that there are so many alternatives out there to regular sugar sweetened beverages. People can hate on artificial sweeteners all they want, or the low calorie sweeteners all they want, but they are such a better alternative to regular Coke. Like Coke Zero, Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, those diet drinks, all of those things are so much better for you in terms of losing weight, keeping the weight off, which we know the negative health effects of, being really obese and maintaining that high level of body fat for a long period of time. So switching to that can be a game changer for a lot of people. And there's a lot of research out there showing that when people substitute sugar sweetened beverages for these artificial sweetened beverages, they do lose weight. And it's because, you're getting that drastic drop in calories. I really hope that like down the road, I hope smoking gets like this too, to where it's just like a thing where, we obviously don't want to smoke. But I hope that the like sugar sweetened beverages kind of get to that point where it's just like such a silly choice to choose that over the Coke Zero. And yeah, like some people can kind of notice a little bit of a taste of difference, but I guarantee you can get used to it if you try hard enough. If you just tell yourself, I'm never going to drink a regular Coke again, it's always going to be diet for the rest of my life if I have one, then I guarantee you'll be able to get adjusted to it. So that is one thing, is that people who lose fat and keep it off long term, they do not drink their calories. They don't waste calories on just liquid that's not really going to fill you up. Number two thing that people do who lose fat and keep it off long term is they have at least 30 plus or more grams of protein at each meal. And they treat it as like this is their number one thing in the priority list whenever they're putting some kind of meal together. And that's whether they're putting it together on their own, for breakfast at home, they're putting it together in the office at lunch, they're putting it together when they're going out to dinner with family or friends. They're always kind of searching for, okay, what's my highest protein option? And also what is my like leanest option, meaning the lowest fat protein option too. You can get a burger that is really greasy that is maybe high in protein, but it's going to be really high in fat. So it's going to be high in calories. So to even just like add another layer on top of that, what is my protein source that I'm going to put in here, and how can I find a lean protein source? So a protein source that is high in protein, but pretty low in fat. And this could be like when you're out to dinner, this could be like grilled chicken, this could be fish, this could be some kind of fillet as far as steak. But those are like the options you want to like grasp for when you are out to dinner. And then obviously if you're at home, you have a little bit more control. And this is almost like, and this is a weird analogy, but almost think about like having this mentality that's similar to if you were like, let's say shopping at Target or something, and there was an earthquake and or there was some like natural disaster going on, and you're looking around, okay, like shoot, where are my kids? Like I got to grab my kids. Like where are they? Trying to desperately find where they are. You want to have that same mentality when it comes to like when you're eating and finding that protein source. Like you want that to be the base of your meals at all times, because that protein is going to be really important for keeping you full. It's going to help to make sure you're getting in enough protein to recover from your workouts, to either build or keep the muscle you have. That's going to keep your metabolism elevated. So extremely important. So number two is that we always look for at least 30 grams plus a protein per meal, if not even, a little bit higher, probably between 30 and 50. Like if you make that your ballpark for each meal, you're going to be in a really good spot. Third thing that people who lose fat and keep it off for good do is they lift weights consistently between 3 to 5 times a week. And to add another layer to this, they also hit each muscle group twice per week too. So they don't just do some kind of lower body day on Monday, some kind of like back day on Wednesday, and then some kind of like shoulder day on Friday. They're hitting each muscle group twice per week. So what this split would probably look like is some kind of lower body day on Monday, Tuesday is maybe upper body, and then Thursday or Friday is full body. So they're hitting each muscle group twice per week there, and they're lifting at least 3 days. Now, obviously you can lift 4 and 5, and that's perfect too. But 3 days, kind of the minimum of consistent lifting, unless you have a lot of other activity going on. I have some clients who they lift 2 full body days a week because they are doing, quite a bit of like running, because that's a hobby of them, which is totally fine. But at least 3 days of lifting if you're not doing any kind of other activity for like a hobby or for fun. And this is extremely important for keeping muscle mass, building muscle mass. And the reason why hitting each muscle group twice per week is really so ideal is because it usually takes about 48 to 72 hours for the muscle to kind of fully recover between workouts. And the more often you're able to hit the muscle group while also being able to fully recover from it, the more stimulus you're going to be able to give your body to adapt in a certain way, which means if you're only hitting each muscle group, let's say once per week in a year, that's 52 times out of the year that you're able to like stimulate muscle growth in those areas that you're hitting, or muscle maintenance even. But if you're able to divide that volume or those sets into 2 days per week that you're hitting that muscle group, you're able to stimulate muscle growth or muscle maintenance instead of 52, 104 times throughout the year. Now, obviously, there are some nuances of how many sets you're doing per week and this and that, but really the most successful people, they lift 3 to 5 times a week, work on progressively overloading, they work on slowly adding weight and or adding reps over a long period of time. They stick with the same exercises for usually 2 to 3 months at a time before switching exercises. That way they can actually progress in them, and they hit each muscle group twice per week. Fourth thing that people who lose fat and keep it off successfully do is they really are in tune with how they feel after eating certain foods or after eating certain meals. So like one of the biggest things that has helped me make quote unquote good choices or choices throughout my fitness journey to help me to maintain the weight or the body fat that I've lost is really emphasizing in asking myself before I eat something, how is this going to make me feel? And not necessarily how it's going to make me feel emotionally. Like, am I going to feel guilty about eating this? Am I going to feel frustrated with myself? Not really asking those questions, but how is it going to make me feel physically? If I eat for like dinner, if I have this, let's say, I don't know, 3 slices of pizza and a bunch and like 2 cookies and a brownie, I'm probably going to feel like in the moment when I'm eating it, yeah, it's going to taste really damn good. But afterwards, I'm probably going to feel probably sluggish, probably going to feel bloated, probably not going to feel too energized, probably going to want to just lay on the couch for the most part, not really move. And I'm also probably, if I were to like have to do something physically active or strenuous soon after eating that, I probably would feel uncomfortable and feel like I'm going to burp it up. And I probably would maybe get to the point where like it would start to feel like it's coming up on me. So I ask myself that before I eat something. And sometimes I choose the choice that is the less than ideal choice. Like sometimes I choose the pizza and the cookies, every once in a while. And that's okay. It's okay to actively choose, okay, I know this isn't going to make me feel better long-term physically, but I'm going to do it anyway because I just really want to eat it. But I don't do it as often. And more often than not, I'm deciding, hey, pizza in the moment, emotionally, psychologically, taste-wise, it's the best short-term decision for me because it's going to give me that like dopamine hit right away. But the best, even like shorter or longer-ish term, even in the next couple of hours, how I'm going to feel better physically if I choose something that's a little bit lighter, something that isn't as greasy, something that's higher in protein, lower in fat, has more fruits and vegetables. That's going to make me feel better physically. And then after I eat that food, I think about how I feel physically too. Like I sit there and don't don't think about it over like with judgment. Don't think, oh, I feel so sluggish. I hate myself. I'm a failure. I feel guilty. Don't think about it in that way. It's like cast no judgment on yourself, but just sit there with your body and think, how did this meal really make me physically feel? Do I feel energized? Do I feel strong? Do I feel like ready to get up and move if I wanted to? And if not, then think about, okay, what could I have had instead? And then next time when you do have the instead meal, you have the lower fat option, the higher protein option, the more fruits and vegetables, then do the same thing and reflect on that meal and think about, I just had this meal 30 minutes ago. I'm sitting here, man, I don't feel bloated. I feel good. I feel like I could get up and maybe go for a light jog if I had to. I feel energized, and really like think about those things, because if you ignore them, then you don't get any kind of reinforcement, whether it's negative reinforcement or positive reinforcement, to make the good choice next time or the better choice next time. If you just ignore those feelings, how you feel physically, then you're never going to catch yourself and think, oh, I should probably choose the healthier option next time. But if you take time to reflect after every time you eat, it doesn't have to be a big thing. You don't have to sit there and light your candles and sing Kumbaya and all this stuff, but just sit there in your mind for, maybe a couple of minutes and think, this is how this made me feel. I probably would feel physically better if I chose something else. And that is the reinforcement you need to consistently do over and over. And eventually you're going to choose the food item or the meal that positively reinforces you more, and that kind of you associate with those positive feelings then, and eventually that'll kind of get ingrained in your head. So really stop and think before you eat something, how is this going to make me feel physically? And then after you eat it, how did this make me feel physically? And then eventually, you'll start to shift those choices more towards the positive reinforcement. And then fifth thing that people do who lose fat and keep it off consistently is that they understand that they might have to be selfish in the short term in order to be unselfish long term. So that might mean taking your time, taking your 30 minutes to an hour to prep some foods for the week so you can set yourself up for success, to hit your calorie range, your protein range, and make healthy choices to lose the weight you want. This might be setting aside, 45 minutes to an hour, 3 to 5 times a week to get your lifting days in. And this might mean, not necessarily sitting with, your kids for that 45 to 60 minutes, those 3 days a week, and instead going down into the basement or wherever you have your home workout stuff, or it might be even driving to the gym and getting your workout in and not seeing them for that time. And it's going to feel selfish, and it's going to feel like you're putting yourself before them. And that's how it's going to feel short term. But in the long term, you are going to be able to be so much more unselfish, because you're going to actually lose the weight and see the results you want. So you're going to feel better, physically better in your own skin. And you're going to be able to be more active with your kids. You're going to be able to help out more efficiently around the house, right? If you're out of shape and overweight and not taking care of yourself, and you're doing laundry, doing the dishes, doing this, you might get all those chores and tasks done, and then the last thing you want to do is sit on the floor and play with your kid, or go outside and play with your kid. And maybe the first thing you want to do is just lay on the couch and scroll on TikTok. And you didn't spend time away from your kid to go get your workout in, and you were present in the house, but you weren't really present in your mind and active with them. Whereas if you did sacrifice that 45 minutes 3 times a week to get that workout in, you might do that laundry, you might, clean up the kitchen, whatever it is, and you might then have the energy to go out and play with your kids more often and make more memories with them. So that's one way where it feels selfish in the short term, but it's actually unselfish long term. Another way is that your kids will see so much of what you do and literally just mimic it, whether you tell them to do it or not. The biggest lessons or the biggest habits are caught, not taught, meaning they're not learned from what we say to them. They're learned from what they see us do. So if they watch us prioritize our health, prioritize our food, like the food choices we make, prioritize our workouts, and prioritize like us feeling good, they're going to do those things and learn that those things are good things they should do too. And that could prevent them from growing up with poor eating habits. It could prevent them from dealing with overweight or obesity in their childhood, which it's much harder to lose the weight in adulthood when you've been overweight your whole entire childhood versus if you were to actually build good habits from the start. So not only is being whoa, brain fart. So not only is prioritizing this stuff so unselfish long term because you're able to show up better for them, but you're also able to set a better example. So it's going to improve their life too. Like with my eating habits that I built growing up with my family, my parents, I would have been in a healthier spot if they had better habits, which would have made my life easier as I became an adult. And I found a way to make it work and make the changes that I need to make. And obviously I'm a registered dietitian now, but my life would have been easier in that realm, at least, if I would have learned good habits from them. And you can make your kids' lives easier by doing that. And number 3, not even thinking about your kids, but even your spouse, your partner, significant other, whoever. When you start to really prioritize yourself, if they are a supportive partner and they are somebody who is willing to like grow with you in your journey called life, they will probably start to adopt a lot of the habits that you have. I can't tell you how many clients I've worked with where they started, working with me one-on-one or joined the iThrive Collective, started making changes and everything. And eventually they would message me and be like, hey, I've been in this program for 2 months and I'm down 10 pounds, but guess what? My husband, he's down 10 pounds too. And he hasn't even been like necessarily doing all the things I've been doing. He's just been going on walks with me each morning and eating the food that I eat for myself or make for myself. And he's lost weight too. So now we're both getting healthier at the same time. So you not only can influence your kids, but you can also influence your partner potentially too, especially if they are somebody who you feel like would benefit from improving their health. Like you taking that stand can inspire them too. So it's going to feel selfish in the short term, but it's going to be such an unselfish decision in the long term for all those reasons. So these are 5 things that people who lose fat long term do and are able to keep the weight off long term because they do them. So hopefully this was informative and helpful. As always, feel free to send me a message if you are struggling with your own weight loss or need any tips, need any advice. If you are interested in one-on-one coaching, send me a DM. Really not taking on a ton of clients right now, but if you are interested, send me a DM so you can get on the wait list and be one of the first to grab one of the first open spots when they do open up. But am still enrolling people into the iThrive Collective, which is my group coaching membership where you get access to all of my fat loss courses, all of my workout courses. You get workouts uploaded every single month that you can follow. There's recipe ideas in there, food ideas, videos on how to make meal prep super easy and simple. There's a feed where people are sharing their own experiences, asking questions, answering questions. There's weekly Q&A replays that you get access to where you can ask your questions, like literally state the exact situation you're dealing with, and I'll answer it for you every single week. So you can kind of get coaching in that mechanism too. If you don't sign up for one-on-one, there's tons of other really cool stuff you can unlock in there too. So you can currently join for $29 a month, or you can sign up for an annual membership, which will save you over $100, which is just $240 for the whole entire year. So that is my group coaching membership. Like literally the value in there is probably 10 times what the price is. So yeah, if you want info on that, just let me know in the comments and I'll send it over. So I think that's it for this one, and I will see you guys in the next one.